This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Hi, my name is Igor Kheifets, and this is The List Building Lifestyle, the only podcast which delivers cutting-edge conversion strategies from the online trenches straight to your earbuds. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. I also invite you to grab a free copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. And now, once again, it's time to claim your list building lifestyle.
Welcome back to another edition of the List Building Lifestyle Show. Here is your host, the wisest list builder on the planet, Mr. Igor Kheifets.
Is there a word actually, like the wisest? Is an actual word?
You are
I think
the definition of the word.
That's right. I'm going to get it tattooed on my back. The wisest list builder.
The wisest guy. What's up, Igor? What's good in your world today?
Well, John, it hasn't been easy carrying around these bags of wisdom, of list building wisdom. But I've been managing somehow. Just came back from a week's long vacation in Russia. Not bad. I got to tell you. The bigger cities in Russia, they really stepped up their game. It feels like they're catching up with the rest of the world, which is surprising because, I grew up over there, like post-Soviet, Ukraine, Russia, same thing. And I always had the feeling we're way behind. Now I come back to Russia, it feels like we caught up, like as a nation. And it feels nice. And I hope we can somehow help list builders bridge the gap as well, because there's a big problem here that I spotted recently. And see, the problem is that everybody's so busy chasing fads and looking for that one amazing, incredible system that sells, that converts like gangbusters, that they forget how things are supposed to be marketed. And specifically, I see a huge mismatch between the products that are being sold and the awareness of the people to whom they're being sold to. And what I mean by that is, back in the day, Eugene Schwartz, who's considered to be one of the greatest copywriters out there, or at least one of the greatest teachers of copywriting out there, who's, of course, is now deceased, he spoke about the 5 levels of awareness when it came to your customer. And he was able to break down the entire market for your product, no matter what you were selling, no matter if it's your product, no matter if you're an affiliate marketer, right? He was able to break it down to 5 different stages of awareness, and these stages dictate how you're supposed to market your product to those audiences. And, this is the one thing that I've never seen anyone talk about, even though, at least in our industry, of course, if you're like studying Agora and all the people that are like in the financial space or something, like they do talk about that stuff. But, in our space, in the IM space, nobody talks about that. Nobody's even remotely aware of the fact that different prospects require different sort of angles, different approaches, and they're never able to identify the market they're working with. In fact, one of the most common ways, I guess, to stifle a marketer today is to ask him, what is your perfect customer? Like, who is that person you're marketing to? Who's your avatar? And most of the time, all you get is just that dumb look of a person that doesn't know what to tell you. Because a lot of times they'll get the swipe or the copy or the sales funnel link from whoever's given it to them, but they never, ever, ever, ever stop to consider, how do I need to frame this to create like this perfect match so my potential customer feels like they're in the right place at the right time, and that this product is capable of solving their problems.
You used an interesting word there that I'd like a definition of. You said, how do I frame this? What is this frame concept?
Frame, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it comes from the NLP world, where it's how you position something in the eyes of the other person. So, for example, one product could be positioned as a solution to several different problems. Like a car can be positioned as a solution to a movement problem or inability to move, right? So if you want to move from point A to point B, a car can be that thing that moves you. Now, at the same time, a car can be positioned as a prestigious thing that defines your social status. So if we're talking about a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, right? Or if we're talking about Israel, a Buick or a Mercedes Benz, which is considered to be like this incredible status thing. So that's a solution to a status problem, right? Or if we're talking about, say, an ambulance, right? That's actually a solution not to a transfer problem, but more so to like a life-saving thing, right? So it's actually what's going to keep you from dying, that or a helicopter. But my point is that one product, the same product, can be positioned or framed as different solutions to different problems, which is important to remember because your market, you can break it down into a bunch of different segments. And that's what I want to kind of teach on this episode is what are those 5 different segments of your market and how do you approach them? How do you frame your product? The exact same product, whether your product or someone else's. So if you're an affiliate marketer, it works for you as well. How do you frame that in order for the product to make sense as a solution to the problem or the goal that they want to achieve?
You had me up until you said teach, and then I just started glazing over. Don't teach me anything.
All right, let me show
me,
you.
yeah.
Let me allow you to discover.
I'm in.
Because we don't want to work.
All right.
Yeah, we don't want to work.
No.
So there's 5 stages, okay? There's 5 stages of buyer awareness. And if you want to study those deeply, which I suggest you do, I suggest you read a book that's called Good Leads by Michael Masterson, because that's where, I first seen this concept really explained in great detail, as well as, there were a lot of examples, tons of examples given for each one of these segments. So we're going to go from top to bottom, meaning that we're going to go from your absolute best, the most easiest to close prospect to the prospect that is the hardest to close. At the same time, you have to remember that there's going to be fewer prospects that you're able to close right away like that versus, a wider market of prospects that are closable but require a different approach. Right, so it's like a pyramid. So at the top, it's like the best type, and then the lower you go, the wider it gets, and the more the market grows. But it's harder to convert because it's more generic. So at the top of the pyramid, we got the most aware buyer. Most aware meaning the prospect knows your product and only needs to know the deal. So for me, right, an example of my business, Igor Solo Ads, if we're talking about somebody who would be the most aware of a prospect. For me, that's somebody who understands what solo ads are, knows that I exist, understands how Igor solo ads are different from other solo ad providers, is familiar with our guarantee. And at this point, it's now a question, okay, Igor, what do you got? Like, what can you offer me? How much it costs? And let me make a buying decision. That's the most aware type of prospect. Obviously, the easiest one to close, and it's the person that is willing to make a buying decision pretty much right away. It's the dream prospect for any business. Okay, but like I said, those are the few, because to create the most aware customer, you have to do what we've been talking about on the show all along: aggressive daily follow-up, putting out infotaining content, repurposing content, etc., etc., etc. So everything we've been talking about until now, that's how you create the most aware buyer. Now, the one stage below the most aware buyer is the product aware. So the product aware buyer is somebody that knows what you sell, but not sure that it's right for him. So in other words, again, let's just keep on with the example of my business, Igor Solo Ads. It's somebody who understands what solo ads are and knows that Igor Solo Ads exists. But at the same time, they are aware that, other solo ad agencies also exist, and they're at a point where they're not able to make a definite decision about whether or not my company is right for them. So that's the product aware buyer, and that's the second best customer you can hope for, because this customer has already moved beyond the point of being sold on the concept of solo ads, right? And now they're just searching for the right source. Again, pretty good chances for you to close such a prospect. Now, the one below that, so we're hitting the middle of the pyramid, is the solution aware customer. Now, the solution aware person is somebody who knows the results they want, but not which product provides those results. So that prospect is aware of the solution in the general form of it, which is solo ads. However, they're not aware of Igor solo ads, they're not aware of other providers. They're still at the point where, okay, solo ads exist and they're studying about them and they seem like a good idea. So they're like at that point just before they start researching specific solo ad sources. All right, so these are the three levels, the first three levels. Now, the fourth one is the problem-aware customer. Now, the problem-aware customer, or actually, I probably should be saying prospect because he's still not buying anything. He senses that he's got a problem, but he doesn't know the solution. So, in other words, this is probably somebody who's a member of a multi-level marketing company who's still going door to door, trying to do flyers, right, or whatever. And, he's aware of the fact that he ain't got enough leads to make enough money to pay his bills. So now he's at a point where if you talk to him about his problem, he's going to listen to you, but you also need to sell him on the right solution, because for him, the solution might not be solo ads. It may be direct mail, maybe Facebook, maybe YouTube, maybe blogging or SEO. So solutions now is where he is at. Like, he's trying to pick that solution, and what he's only aware of is the problem. Okay. So again, the conversation you begin with is not about the solo ads. It's about, oh, you ain't got enough leads. That's your problem. So that's number 4, and it's a pretty wide market. But by far the widest market, the market where you can get, I guess, the most money, of course, it comes with the downside of having to work harder to close, to convert, is the absolutely not aware customer that is not even aware that they've got a problem. So you not only need to explain to them what the solution is, but before that, you also have to explain to them what their problem is. So somebody who doesn't get enough leads, right, you have to explain to them that they aren't getting enough leads, that leads are the problem, then offer the solution to that problem. So again, it requires a lot of work as far as drilling deep and starting the conversation from the very, very bottom and leading them by the hand all the way to your solution, which ends up solving that problem.
So, Igor, where do you see most people going in? Because you said that there's a disconnect between where people are in their buying process and where marketers are marketing to them. So are they marketing to the low-hanging fruit? Are they marketing to the wide market? Where's the big mistakes that you see?
Well, that's the problem, Jonathan. They're all over the freaking place. I've seen offers that are really ultra IM specific, where they use the lingo, where they talk about the problems that somebody who's been in internet marketing for 3 years is experiencing, somebody who tried a bunch of things and failed, right? And they come into a market that's basically only problem aware, which is second from the bottom. At the same time, I've seen companies approach us where they've got these sales funnels, or I guess I can't even call that a funnel. It's more like a website, more like a homepage, that all they do is they try to sell the solution, right? Because they basically say, hey, we got this amazing product. We got this groundbreaking thing. It's usually MLM companies, right? But they're trying to sell this to a customer that's really not seeking a solution yet, but they are aware of their problem. So there's no one big mistake that I'm seeing. It's just constant mismatch, and it depends on the product itself and on the person you're trying to attract. I usually bash all the other traffic sources, and I build up solo as this one thing that's the best thing that ever happened to this planet, right? But we have to recognize the fact that there's a product for every traffic source, or an offer for every traffic source, and a traffic source for every offer. For example, I told you the story of how I've been working with a friend of mine who owns a local deli, and we used Facebook ads and video marketing, not email, because he ain't got a website, he's not building a list or anything like that. But we used videos, infotaining videos. So same as I would write an email, I just taught him how to do these videos. And we would upload Facebook ads specifically to our community, so we would limit the location. And by doing so, we have increased his meat sales to a point, okay, where he's selling as much as a store that's twice his size. And we did it in less than 6 months. Now, that's an incredible feat for a small town like where I live in. Okay, so my point is that we were aware of the tools and of the market. We knew where the market hung out. We knew what was the best tool to get to them. And we knew what was the conversation we had to have. Because if we were to take the same approach as I would take with a different traffic source, a different offer, to a different crowd, it wouldn't work. And that's a whole other issue with internet marketing. Because, and tell me if you notice this. Marketers tend to generalize the crap out of everything. They're looking for the one thing that solves all their problem, right? They're looking for that one thing that makes everything bad go away. And as soon as they find something, all of a sudden that becomes the ultimate solution to all of their life's problems. It doesn't matter that it works only in that one specific niche. It doesn't matter that they got lucky, right? But all of a sudden they generalize the crap out of it and they stick it everywhere, right? So that's the wrong way to go about promoting your product.
Yeah, I might have seen that once or twice. That might be why you're cleaning up in the solo ad business. You're not playing that game. So let me ask you a question about, I think I have the title of this episode correctly, how to create an irresistible offer for any affiliate product. Where does that fall in the pyramid of awareness?
Well, that falls into probably a problem-aware market. Because what this title does, it targets people who are considering to make money with affiliate marketing, but don't know how to get started, or people who tried a little bit, like they dabbled with affiliate marketing, but failed miserably. So they're aware of the fact that they've got a problem. And the problem is that they want to make money as affiliates, but they don't know how the hell to do it. Okay, so what this title does, it attracts the people in that category by focusing on one specific problem that they're thinking about, hopefully a lot. Okay, now it doesn't, for example, attract people who already decided how to position their affiliate offer. Like if somebody like John Chow is actually listening to this episode, he won't find much value because he already understands that. That's why he made $940 something thousand this year alone with Mob. So that's not for John Chow, you know what I mean? Like that's not for shoe money. That's for people that are at the early stages of affiliate marketing that are still trying to understand what is the best way to promote their products and who exactly they're supposed to promote them to.
I like that. So let's do one more. All right. So let me read you another title of one of your older episodes. So number IKS 144, How to Build a $500,000 per month business opportunity with John Crestani. Hopefully I said his name right.
Yeah, that's right. So John Crestani, he's big now. He's really up and coming in the biz up space. He originally came from a different niche, and he was very successful there. And he came in and pretty much just dominated. So that's why I hurried to get him on the show, because this guy is going to make a splash for sure. He's already making a splash, but he's going to be bigger a couple of years from now. So the people that are being targeted through that subject line are really ambitious entrepreneurs in the make money online space. It's the people who succeeded, at least on some level, with business opportunities and are now asking themselves the question, if I'm making so much money as an affiliate, imagine what I can do if I owned the actual company. Imagine what I can do if I knew how to build my own business opportunity and have other people promote it for me. So it's a small segment, I agree. I mean, it's probably less than 5% of the entire marketplace, but that's who you target, because that's an ambitious freaking goal, right? I mean, it is. Now, at the same time, it can also, not necessarily, but it can also target people who are aware of the solution. In other words, people who are members of several business opportunities and they're still dreaming of becoming that somebody who's making a ton of money with business opportunities. So they're at least somewhat interested in making $500,000 a year in this particular space, but I doubt they dream this big, right? So that's what I'm saying. I mean, they're still listening to the episode because they'd be thinking, you know, if I could only make like 10% of that, I'd be freaking happy. So let me see what Igor and John Crestani have to say, right? So that's, but again, the primary segment for that particular episode are the ambitious entrepreneurs who really are considering, let me see if I can get my own company up and going. Like, what can I do? What can I make happen if I take that step in my business?
Yeah. So each episode or each piece of content, each piece of marketing targets one particular spot where people are. That's what I think you were saying earlier. People are trying to cram everything into each piece, and it just doesn't work that way.
Exactly. You've hit it right there. Basically, let's just take email marketing, for example, right? People ask me, Igor, how long is your follow-up sequence? How long is my follow-up sequence supposed to be? And they expect for me to give them a number, like 14 days. I'm not sure why that's the magic number for people, but they think it's 14 days. 14 days, 30 days, 60 days. That's why I say that your email follow-up cannot be limited to a certain number of emails, because there's like a never-ending amount of topics and angles you can take, attracting different segments on your list to get them to sign up with your product. Like if you're promoting something like Mob or Digital Altitude, right? You're actually solving a money problem. But imagine the angles, imagine the approaches you can take if you're aware of the 5 different stages of buyer awareness. Are you targeting the person who is working a really good job but feels like he's in the golden cage? So he wants to get out and he wants not to have a boss, right? But he needs to replace his income with something equally as awesome as what he's making there. Like I've had a bunch of clients like that. I've had one client, I remember I spoke to him on the phone. He was working for Boeing, the plane company, right? He was making like 20 grand a month. He had 3 cars and 2 houses. And he was freaking miserable. The guy was miserable, and he wanted to get out, and he wanted to, at the time, I was doing the whole solo-ed coaching thing, so he wanted me to help him build a solo-ed business, right? So at the same time, you could be, with the exact same solution, you could be targeting the retired person who's now at a point where they realize they are running out of money before they run out of life. Now, at the same time, you could be targeting a 21-year-old person who is already aware of the fact that he doesn't want to have a job and they want to live the freelance lifestyle, right? So they want to be in a different country every month, perhaps even living on a very slim budget, right? Maybe staying at different like cheap hotels and whatnot, but being able to support themselves strictly through their laptop, right? So they don't need a lot of money. They just need some money to support themselves. Maybe you're targeting a couple that just had a kid and the wife had to walk away from a job, so now they only have one income. So maybe the level of awareness is the problem. The problem is I had 2 incomes, now I have 1. What do I do? So usually the husband or the wife will sign up with a business opportunity simply because that seems like a legitimate way, right, to have a second income without actually having what's called a job while being able to take care of their child. So again, so many different levels of awareness, and it's up to you to figure out what's the content piece, the email, the sales letter, the video you're producing today. Who are you targeting? Because that's really how you do it. That's really where you start when you're considering a content piece. You don't think, oh, what is that content I'm going to produce today? That's the wrong way to go about it. Instead, you ask yourself, who am I producing it for? And what is their awareness at this point? What are they wondering about? What are they thinking about? And then producing the content is a piece of cake.
Yeah, I like how you hid this deep marketing psychology lesson in an irresistible offer for any market package. Good stuff, Igor. So do you want to give a quick tease of what's coming up next time?
Yeah, next episode, we're going to continue with what we began in the recent weeks, where we started talking more about the actual process of buying solo-eds. And we're going to talk about how to write the perfect solo-ed swipe. Now, the reason I decided to finally, approach this topic is because, Google that. Just literally, I dare you, Google that, and you'll find so much contradicting advice about solo-ed swipes. People just have it completely wrong. So on the next episode, I want to simplify it for you. I want to make it easy to understand, and I want to have you, by the end of that episode, have your ideal swipe you can take to the solo-ed vendors right away and run some traffic.
Oh, big promise there on the next List Building Lifestyle. That's a wrap for this time. We'll be back in your earbuds for the next one.
Thank you for listening to the List Building Lifestyle. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or Google Play to never miss an episode. Because who knows, just one conversion tactic we share on the show might double your list and double your business. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. And don't forget to claim your complimentary copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. This is Igor Kheifets, and until next time we talk, have a good one.
This is the podcastfactory.com.